Welcome back. Last week I went over 1,000 tech articles, and these are the best. Take 2. Use an SD card. Alright, first up. In Amsterdam, they're going to build a 3D printed steel bridge. They're going to have these robots that are going to 3D print a bridge, and they're going to do it in 2 years. It'll take a 2-month period. It'll happen in 2 years. And it's a 24-foot long steel bridge that's going to be printed in midair, no supports in the middle while it's being built, by some robots. And then it's going to be a walking bridge. Sounds really awesome. I'd love to try it. LastPass got hacked. If you use LastPass, change your master password. If you don't know what LastPass is, I'm going to tell you. So LastPass is a password manager, and what that does is it keeps track of all of your different passwords for all your different websites. Because it's very, very dangerous to use the same password for multiple websites. If one of them gets hacked or an employee at that website gets angry and gets into their system, they can use that password to get all your stuff. So you need to have a password manager that can generate all these different passwords for you and save them and use them. And then you have a master location where you have all these things, and you have one password to get into that master location. It's called Vault. And then those are used to populate your web pages. It's very secure. It's very good. This is, I think, their first ever hack, and all you have to do is change your master password quickly, and you'll be fine. I highly recommend using LastPass. I use it myself. Just be aware of these updates. Mass Effect. Mass Effect is a game that is on the Xbox that I've played, and on many other consoles. There's a Mass Effect 1, a 2, a 3, and now Mass Effect Andromeda coming out at the end of 2016. Really awesome. It is a fantastic game where they carry forward elements from the first game into the second game. You kill a guy or make a guy mad or something, and it matters in the second one. You know, that guy's dead, or he's got a grudge, or if you saved his life, maybe he likes you. Really, really awesome the way they put together this game, this series of games. My guess is Mass Effect Andromeda is going to take place in a different galaxy, so you probably have different characters, which means that your previous games probably don't matter so much. But, I mean, they're fantastic at storytelling. They've got a really, really good graphics engine. It looks awesome. And, I mean, hey, space. Microsoft purchased Minecraft a while back, and now they're showing off demos using their holographic lens technology. It's called HoloLens. You put it on and you can see holographic displays popping up in front of you. Minecraft is a really, really good way to demo this kind of technology, because you can just have a coffee table and build some Minecraft on it. Looks really awesome. Check it out. Elon Musk, if you don't know who he is, you should. He's basically Iron Man. He basically built PayPal back in the day, sold it off, used his money to build Tesla, the car company, because he wanted cars to be better. And then he decided, hey, I want to get stuff into space. I mean, who doesn't want to build rocket ships into space? And so he built one of the first really successful commercial space programs called SpaceX. So SpaceX is now sponsoring this new on-planet transportation called a Hyperloop. And the Hyperloop's been talked about for a while now, here and there, on and off. Well, they're actually going to make it real. What they want to do is they want to have a 30-minute commute from LA to San Francisco and back, and then, connecting the rest of the United States. So next summer of 2017, 16, so it's the 15 now. So 16, they're going to have a competition where they're going to build the tube, and they're going to have all the competitors build the pods that go inside to see who has the best design for the most comfortable and fastest. And so, yeah, get your entries in by September, and good luck. Russia has come out with a microwave gun. Right, it's a death ray. And what they can use this for is they can use it to take down missiles or small airplanes that are close to the ground, or drones. Probably mainly targeted at drones. And they're kind of bragging about it. The Kremlin claims that they have constructed it and are beginning testing. So now there's an anti-drone death ray. Scientists have come out with a really cool thing called a neural lace. This has showed up in several science fiction books, and I'm not sure if films, but basically it's a mesh technology that can interface with your brain. So it's like if you get a small screen with all the electrical components that can lay down on top of your brain, and then they can send in wirelessly to communicate with you. A lot of sci-fi uses this for general communication, for gaining information on learning kung fu. It's an injectable electronic mesh, the real one, not the sci-fi one, and they're using it now for tests with mice. They're injecting this mesh in, and then they have little electrodes. They zap and do things, and it has a few different potential applications. One is it is actually really good for administering treatment for Parkinson's, which is really huge and can really benefit the medical community that way. Secondly, it could be used for a brain-computer interface for communication, especially with people that have a functioning brain but perhaps don't have a fully functional body. If they have trouble speaking, communicating, moving, this could really help with connecting the brain to prosthetic limbs or a wheelchair or what have you. So really cool technology, probably a really long ways off before we actually see it in the day-to-day. I mean, they haven't even done human trials yet, but really cool. China is building an artificial island. Yeah, they've been building it for about a year, and they say they're only a few days from completion. It's about 2,000 acres of sand, really, and it's between Vietnam, China, Borneo, and the Philippines. So it's like right in that big empty area that everybody claims is their own, but it's the middle of the ocean. So China, instead of just, claiming a little bit of sand right there on a, they're just basically little sand dunes in the ocean, barely peeking up. They've gone in and taken a whole bunch of really big ships and started piping sand onto one of them to make this reclaimed island. It took them a year, and it looks like a real island. So who knows what the political implications are going to be, but it's done. Amazon is amazing at doing all of their various ways of getting stuff from them to you. They've got their Amazon Prime, they've got, which is, 3-day delivery. They've got robots that work in their warehouse to make sure that, stuff gets shuffled around right because it's so huge. They have drones that they're working on to see if they can just, drop stuff off on your doorstep. They've got that really, free shipping on really small, light, cheap things. And now they're actually looking into how to do crowdsourcing for delivery. So you could theoretically sign up to be an Amazon courier in your area. And if you're on your way somewhere already, then, you can pick something up and drop it off over in town. Or, yeah, there's not a whole lot of details out there, but Amazon is amazing. They just amaze me every single time. They come up with new ways to get things from them to you to make it really easy, which is why they're one of my favorite places to shop. AT&T last week was fined $100 million for being a jerk. The FCC is fining them for misleading pricing. So what happened was a bunch of guys were grandfathered in with unlimited data and were paying AT&T, and they got unlimited data. But what AT&T was doing was, after they got to a certain amount, they cut down the rate. So basically, it's like if I was paying for, 300,000 gallons of water to be used in my house over the year or whatever. I don't know if that's a good analogy or not, especially with California. Maybe I should pick a different thing. Electricity. We'll do electricity. So I pay for a certain number of kilowatts in a month, and then I can use it. But if I don't use it all, then the phone company's just going to take whatever's left over, and nobody gets it. Except sometimes you have rollover things, which is really dumb. But what they're doing is they're saying you can have as much as you want for this fixed price. But what we didn't tell you is that after a certain amount of usage, we're going to turn it down so you're basically getting, the equivalent of a AA battery instead of flowing in like what you're supposed to be having. So it made a bunch of people mad. They would talk to the FCC. The FCC says you can't do that. Unlimited means unlimited. So you can't step on them just because they're using what they're paying for. So that's actually really, really good for the phone industry to, actually follow through on what they're selling. Twitter has begun summarizing events, which can be good, can be bad, because maybe they'll pick events we don't like, maybe they'll highlight things that aren't important. But Twitter's main purpose has always been to have grassroots, all of the people, talk about stuff. It started off talking about a lot of dumb stuff, and then a bunch of people started talking about really important stuff, and then you end up having these surges of news events that started on Twitter because people were there on scene, and they reported it on Twitter, and then other people picked it up, and it turned into a big thing. So what Twitter, the company, is doing is they're going to try and figure out when these things start rising up, they're going to capture that and store it into like an event thing so that people can look at it, they can find it, they can get connected to those things faster and better. I think it's a good move. We'll see where it goes. Oh, it's called Project Lightning, if you are following it. All right, and last, space. So there are a couple articles that I put onto Twitter and onto my website that aren't, they're technology, but they're not like new technology coming out. They're like theoretical stuff in the future. Part of that is because I just read this book. It's really good. It's called The Martian by Andy Weir, and it's actually going to be made into a movie with Matt Damon. And it's really cool. It's a survival book. It's written by a programmer who started programming when he was like 14, and he's just a super nerd. But really fantastic book, really well written. It's got a bit of language, but it's about a guy who's stuck on Mars, so there would be a bit of language, I would guess. So, some really cool stuff about space habitats, space stations, things like that I put up on the website. Also, where is my space hotel? When I was in high school, in 2003, I read an article that said that they were going to have space stations as hotels by 2005. I was super excited. It's a decade later. Where's my space hotel? And that's the news. We'll see you next week.